remember what I said Bitcoin would do, and also the other SOL, and also the other altcoins in the crypto market. Remember I told you this week would be a likely massive move, and it did have those. If you look on the lower time frames, right, you had days with 3% ranging moves, even on trending moves, like ranges of 3%, ranges of even 4% and more. Those are significant moves if you're trading them on lower time frames. Remember I said this week we would likely see sideways and possibly down. Right, we had those, right? And I said that sometime probably around the middle of this month, it'll look like we're going to probably have some kind of a completion of the mean reversion to the 3012 RMLR on the daily. Meanwhile, we'll have other mean reversions happening on lower time frames. Well, that's exactly what's happening, right? We've had, just for example, last night or the beginning of this daily candle. So this is Friday, by the way, which is the 12th of July in 2024, obviously. We saw the 4-hour time frame revert to the 3012, pretty much as expected, because probabilities were that it would do so. Right? We've seen plenty of time frames lower than that have many more mean reversions as well. 3-hour and 90-minute, 45-minute, 33-minute, 30-minute, 15-minute, and so on and so forth. And on the daily, we're still in mean reversion, or at the asset is still in mean reversion to the 3012 RMLR on the daily candle. Why? Because of the probabilities. So, is it likely to complete that mean reversion next week? Well, I mean, you shouldn't lose sleep over it, but it certainly looks pretty good. It looks like that's what's going to happen. It could be sooner. It could be next week, could even be the week after, it doesn't really matter. But it is likely to mean revert to the 3012 RMLR before it hits the lower band, the third band to the downside of that 3012 RMLR. Which means you can use, on any given day, those markers, that RMLR and that 3 STDEV band to the downside, as your potential range of motion for targets. Which means if it approaches the third band to the downside, take your profit before it hits it, because it probably won't hit it. And even if it does, it'll probably just snap through it and snap back, which is what usually happens when you have an extreme outlier case like that. Right? It is exceptionally rare, beyond 99.9999 percentile, that it would actually touch that band, cross through it and stay below it, or cross, if it was to the upside, cross through it and stay above it, when it does something like an extreme outlier like that. So, you can use that guide to the downside as your band to take shorts, or you can use that band to the downside as your guide to take shorts, I should say. Take your profits on the shorts on the daily time frame, and to the upside, you can use that RMLR as your target for mean reversion completion. By the way, it can also complete that mean reversion going to, not just to the upside from here, but it can go sideways and hit it because that RMLR is coming down. It could also fall further, just at a slower rate than the RMLR has been descending, and hit it, right? It's entirely possible, but you can use whatever the delta is between the current price action and that RMLR. You can use that as your guide in terms of where it is likely to head towards, right? So, yeah, that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Is it still the case that we're going to see the VEPs inform us with leading information as to what's going to happen this Friday, Clown Show Friday, and throughout the weekend and next week and next month and next year? Yeah, it's still the case, very much, that the VEPs will continue to provide that leading information, because that is the leading information that informs the high-frequency trading firms that actually move the markets. Speaking of which, if you look at all the silly clowns talking about like the German thing, the German sell-off of BTC, I'm just going to say it again. It was not Germany. It was not the German government that sold us Bitcoin. It was the German state of Saxony. Okay, that's like if you say the U.S. government sold bitcoins. No, it was the United States, state of Ohio or whatever. Okay, it's one of the states in the German country overall, and they had to sell them by law because they were bitcoins that were seized in some criminal case or cases, notably one. So there's a procedure that they have to follow by law, that they're prescribed by law to sell the assets that they've seized, or some percentage of it. That's all that happened. People out there, Ivan and all the other loudmouths, who, by the way, he knows a lot about tech, but he doesn't know anything about trading, saying, if they were entrepreneurial, they could have found a way to keep them. Yeah, sure, if they were entrepreneurial, they could have sold them and bought them right back, arbitrage. But the governments aren't in the business of being entrepreneurial. They're in the business of providing stability for their citizens. So, yeah, that's just all I wanted to say about that for now. Join us on the live stream at 9 a.m. Eastern Time in the Alpha Trading Discord. See you guys. Happy trading.